There are moments in sports that feel bigger than the game itself. Moments when an entire nation holds its breath. Moments when victory becomes immortality and defeat becomes a scar that never truly fades. The World Cup is not just a tournament. It is pressure, pride, legacy, and pain compressed into 90 minutes. And before it became the global phenomenon we know today, before billions watched across continents, before legends like Pelé and Maradona turned it into mythology, there was a risk, a gamble, an idea so ambitious that many believed it would fail before it even began. Today, as we begin our journey toward the FIFA World Cup 2026, we go back to the moment that changed football forever. Because if you truly love this game, you need to understand how it all started. In the late 1920s, football was already the people's game. Across Europe and South America, stadiums filled with workers, dreamers, and believers. But there was no true global stage. The Olympic Games featured football, yet the sport lacked its own crown jewel. It lacked its war. The president of FIFA at the time, Jules Rimet, believed football deserved more. According to FIFA's official historical archives, Rimet envisioned a competition that would unite nations through sport, a tournament independent from the Olympics, one that would determine a true world champion. Many considered it unrealistic. The world was entering the Great Depression. Travel was expensive. Political tensions were high. But Rimet insisted. As he later reflected in his memoirs, he believed football could bring nations together in peaceful competition. It was an idealistic vision in a turbulent world. When Uruguay was chosen to host the first tournament in 1930, skepticism only grew. Europe saw the trip across the Atlantic as too costly and time-consuming. Teams would need to travel by ship for weeks. In the end, only 4 European teams accepted the challenge. According to FIFA's official records, a total of 13 nations participated in what would become the FIFA World Cup 1930. There were no qualification rounds, no global broadcasting network, no billion-dollar sponsorships, just belief. Uruguay, already 2-time Olympic champions, saw the event as a chance to cement their status as the best in the world. For them, this was not an experiment, it was destiny, and destiny demands witnesses. The Estadio Centenario in Montevideo was built specifically for the tournament, completed just days before kickoff. Imagine the pressure, a brand new stadium, a brand new competition, a world watching to see if it would collapse. On July 13, 1930, the first matches kicked off. France's Lucien Laurent scored the first goal in World Cup history, a moment he later described as unforgettable, though he admitted he could never have imagined the scale the tournament would reach decades later. That first goal was not just a number on a scoreboard, it was the spark of something eternal. If you're feeling the weight of that history right now, make sure you subscribe and like this video, because from today until the first whistle of 2026, we are reliving every chapter of this story together. As the tournament progressed, it became clear that this was more than a novelty. Crowds filled the stadium. The intensity grew. South American pride clashed with European ambition. Uruguay advanced with confidence, but Argentina looked unstoppable. The final would not just decide a champion, it would define a continent's supremacy. According to historical match reports archived by FIFA, tensions were so high between Uruguay and Argentina that disagreements even emerged over which ball would be used in the final. 2 nations, 1 trophy, and no room for compromise. This was football stripped to its rawest form. No VAR, no substitutions, just courage and consequence. On July 30th, 1930, nearly 93,000 fans packed into the Centenario. The atmosphere was electric, volatile, historic. Argentina led 2-1 at halftime. For Uruguay, hosting the tournament, the pressure was suffocating. But champions are forged under pressure. Uruguay responded in the second half with relentless intensity, scoring 3 goals to win 4-2. When the final whistle blew, history was written. Uruguay became the first world champion. Newspapers across the globe reported on the triumph, validating Rimet's gamble. What many had doubted was now undeniable. The world had found its tournament, and football would never be the same again. The significance of that victory extended far beyond a single match. As documented in FIFA's official World Cup history publications, the success of 1930 established a recurring global competition that would grow exponentially. What began with 13 teams would eventually expand into the most watched sporting event on Earth. Today, the World Cup commands audiences in the billions, but its soul remains rooted in Montevideo, in that first risk, that first anthem, that first eruption of joy. Without 1930, there is no Pelé in 1970. There is no Maradona in 1986. There is no modern global football culture as we know it. Think about what that means. Every argument about the greatest player ever, every heartbreak you've experienced watching your country fall, every tear of celebration, it all traces back to that one decision in 1930. The World Cup became more than a competition. It became a ritual. a global heartbeat that pulses every 4 years. Sociologists and sports historians often describe the tournament as a rare moment of shared global focus, where political differences pause and collective identity takes center stage. It is tribal, it is emotional, it is unforgettable, and it all began because a few men believed football deserved a world stage. If you love this game the way millions of us do, this is your moment to commit to the journey. Subscribe now and like this video because this is only day one of our countdown. When World Cup 2026 arrives, we won't just watch the matches. We'll understand the weight behind them. We'll understand that every kickoff echoes 1930, that every goal carries nearly a century of history, and that every champion stands on the shoulders of those first pioneers who dared to cross an ocean for a dream. The early World Cups that followed built upon this foundation. Italy 1934 introduced political undertones. France 1938 unfolded under the shadow of looming war. The tournament paused during World War II, a reminder that even football cannot escape global conflict. But when the World Cup returned in 1950, again hosted by Brazil, it proved that the ritual was stronger than interruption. According to historical attendance records, nearly 200,000 people attended the final match at the Maracana, in what became known as the Maracanazo, one of the most devastating defeats in football history. The pattern was set. The World Cup creates ecstasy for one nation and trauma for another. And that trauma is part of why we love it. Because stakes create meaning. When Pelé lifted the trophy in 1958 at just 17 years old, he wasn't just winning a title. He was confirming that the World Cup was the ultimate proving ground. When Maradona declared after his infamous goal in 1986 that it was scored, a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God, as quoted widely in post-match interviews, he reinforced that the tournament produces mythology, controversy, and endless debate. The World Cup doesn't just produce champions, it produces stories that outlive generations. As we look ahead to 2026, hosted across North America, the scale will be unprecedented. More teams, more matches, more global attention, but the core remains unchanged. Pride, identity, pressure, legacy. The same forces that drove Uruguay and Argentina in 1930 will drive nations again. Young players dreaming of lifting the trophy, veterans seeking redemption, coaches gambling careers on tactical decisions. The stage has grown, but the essence is eternal, and we will be here for every second of it. So if you're ready to be part of this global community, to relive the greatest stories, debate the fiercest rivalries, and build anticipation every single day until kickoff, this is your place. Subscribe, like this video, and join the movement. Because when the first whistle blows in 2026, you won't just be watching a match. You'll be witnessing the continuation of a story that began in Montevideo in 1930. And this is only the beginning.